in the last probably 10 years than they ever have.
Well, that's kind of a dismal outlook. Is there
I agree, it is.
Is there any bright sunshine in there somewhere?
If enough people got away from partisan politics where Democrats are pointing the finger and blaming everything at Republicans, and the Republicans are doing the same to Democrats, and realize that at the upper echelons of power, that game is exactly that. It's a game. The Republicans blame the Democrats blame the Republicans, and then they all go have coffee together. And they stay in power, and their whole goal in life is to stay in power. To keep their whole operation in power. Not just the elected officials, but all those employees and the Democratic Party employees and the Republican Party employees. That's all they're concerned with. And as long as we buy into the partisanship, as long as we buy into the fact that the Democrats are all at fault or the Republicans are all at fault, we're in trouble. If somebody were to actually sit down and form a third party, and the last person who ever did that was Ross Perot, and was fairly successful. The Tea Party is a joke. The Occupy people is a joke. They're ineffective, and basically the liberals are running Occupy, if anybody is, and the Conservative Party took over the Tea Party long ago, if they weren't behind it to begin with. There is no option. We have to create one.
We need a fourth party.
we need to create one, a big one.
Yeah, well, it doesn't look as though any third party organization has ever succeeded at the national level. They even Perot got knocked down.
Well, Perot at one point had enough votes. What happened with Perot was the second term. They came up with a people to run for office. Perot wanted to run for president himself. The party didn't want Perot to run for president. He caused some split within the party so that he did get the nomination, and that ruined the party. His own ego got into the way. If he had allowed the party to pick an actual electable slate, I think he would have had a major impact in the second term of office for Bill Clinton.
Who do you think is going to get the nomination this time for the Republicans?
I have no idea. It looks like a clown show to me. I'm not sure.
Who do you think, Randy?
I'm going for Obama. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
For president.
The guy who has the lead, I won't mention names on the air, is a multimillionaire. He has hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's the way it goes now. People going into Congress are the wealthy, and they're going to vote for the wealthy, not for you and me.
Well, there again, the Tea Party is influencing the Republican nominations, the whole primary system, because there isn't anybody running that's right-wing enough for them. So they'll jump on one candidate, and they've done this several times already. They've jumped on one candidate, and all kinds of flaws came up, so they dumped that and jumped on another candidate, and then all kinds of obvious flaws came up, flaws that really they should have known before they jumped on that bandwagon. And they keep doing that, so now we have the front runner against, I don't know, by now it must be at least the fourth or fifth right-wing selected candidate of the week. And if you look at some of the things that are being said by that guy, I don't see that lasting very long in a national election. If I was President Obama right now, I'd feel pretty comfortable, whether he's done anything or not, just because the opposition's so weak and fragmented.
The leadership in the opposition, the guy who's ahead, is a known flip-flopper. He flip-flops.
Oh, absolutely.
He'll say one thing before a group, goes to a different group, he says the opposite.
Well, that covers most of the people running for office, doesn't it?
I love your candid approach to politics. Well, you're right on, I might add. As far as I've seen, I think it's terrible what's going on in our echelons of power. I think the rich and powerful have taken over the Congress for sure, and they're not going to vote for you and me, I'll tell you. They wouldn't even give the seniors $200 paltry when they hadn't given a decent COLA for years.
Guys like Daniel Moynihan, Everett Dirksen, those people don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
They actually did a job.
Dirksen once said $1 billion here, $1 billion there, and after a while, it adds up to real money.
I loved Everett Dirksen, and he was a Republican, and I liked him very much. It had nothing to do with party. He was a good man.
Yeah.
Honest.
Yeah.
You know, William Proxmire, the Golden Fleece Awards, he used to hand out for the biggest waste of money.
The bridge to nowhere.
Guys like that aren't around anymore.
One of of course, the earmarks are the way you take care of your local people in Congress, and they're pretty much hidden. But lately they've been popping up, especially the bridge to nowhere, which one of the leading candidates earmarked. It's a bridge going out to an island that had 10 people or something like that on it.
Well, how about the 219 expressway that's going to create all these jobs in the southern tier from Springville to the PA border, I guess, which to me looks like a road that will allow traffic to bypass everything between Springville and the PA border and probably hurt places like Ellicottville.
Yeah, bankrupt whole villages.
Where people actually do stop right now.
Yeah. Well, and then that oil line is coming from Canada down to the United States. That would provide zillions of jobs, but the trouble is they're only temporary. I mean,
well,
a few months and that's over once they build it.
How about this? The argument is this pipeline has to go all the way across a major aquifer in the Midwest.
Which one would that be?
There's a major aquifer that supplies most of the water for several states there, and at least that's the argument against the pipeline. But rather than argue whether that's true or not, rather than argue the safety of the pipeline, why didn't anybody stop to think we can avoid all of this by building a refinery right on the border, and it only goes to there, and then we don't have a pipeline?
Nobody thought of that.
We wouldn't need a pipeline, would we? And then we could just truck it like we do everything else.
Yeah, well,
but the reason you're not going to see that is because that would increase refinery capacity. And the oil companies don't want to increase refinery capacity because that's the excuse they use all the time for jacking up the price of gas, even when there's a glut of oil. Yes, we have a lot of oil, but we can't refine it fast enough, and everybody buys into it. Even though the refineries they do have are generally running around 85% capacity.
Yeah, the oil prices are fixed at the highest level. They buy most of their oil under the regular contract. The Brent oil is about 10, 15 cents higher usually, and that's the price they quote, although they buy it at the cheap price. So they're actually taking it from both sides here. The oil companies are really not, they have the energy wrapped up, you know?
Well, energy, why are we spending millions and millions, billions of dollars actually, billions of dollars for all kinds of alternative energy sources? And I'm not saying we shouldn't look at them at all, but it's very obvious batteries, solar, wind power are never going to replace more conventional sources of electricity. Coal is dirty, we all know that, but in the meantime we have a lot of it, and plants can be forced to clean up some of the stacks. But why isn't anyone ever talking about hydropower? It's unlimited, it's cheap, and it's perfectly clean.
How about solar power?
But that's, again, you have to have batteries, and now you have to deal with the batteries, and there's more chemicals involved. Hydropower, you build a dam, you put a turbine in, and it's done. Look at the Niagara Power Plant.
Yeah,
that's jacking out more electricity with less pollution than any power plant in the eastern end of the United States.
How about the wind power?
Wind power is a good supplement, and it's ugly, and you have these big, huge towers all over the place, and it's expensive for the amount of electricity you get. Again, compare that to the price of building a hydropower plant.
Yeah, well,
no comparison. Hydropower is what we should be doing until, I get confused on this, I'm not an expert, but nuclear power that we have, there's fusion and fission, and I'm not sure which one we have.
Fission,
but the other one doesn't leave any, the other one we don't know how to do yet because of the heat involved.
It's like the hydrogen bomb.
If we ever get that, then we have all the power we need. There's where they should be probably putting their money.
Yeah, the fusion and the hydrogen bomb.
But in the meantime, you could put a dam on, heck, at Shemla Falls, it would probably power Dunkirk and Fredonia. What would it cost?
You know, that little coal-fired power plant they have in Dunkirk provides quite a bit of electricity around there, but I did a study on windmills, and I was instructed that we'd have to create the same amount of power that's created by that little plant there, we'd have to have windmills at the legal distance from Cleveland to Buffalo.
Exactly, exactly. It's good for supplements if you have the money and you can power your own house with a small one, but to even think that you can replace a power plant with that is just nonsense.
Right, and the
It's
big,
nonsense.
big swoosh, swoosh. I think they're ugly. You said the word. Can you imagine these all over our oceans, our bays,
I can't.
our harbors,
I can't.
in the desert, the beautiful desert with all these things whooshing? And I hope they go some other way. I just really, they also bat down birds.
What amazes me is the people who are against coal-fired plants are the same people who will fight you for building a dam because of in California, the infamous snail darter incident.
Right, the little
a
tiny
fish this
fish.
big that nobody ever heard of prevented a state that has horrible problems with electricity, brownouts and rolling brownouts and all those things they do in the summer, and they didn't build a hydro plant because of the snail darter.
Yeah, we got a couple of calls still waiting. You want to take one? Hey, morning. Good morning, caller.
Hey, morning. Good morning, caller. Good morning. Hold on, please.
Okay, hold on. Got to turn the TV off.
I have to turn the volumes down.
Okay.
Well, no, I've got to turn the volumes down.
Okay. Well, you could train the dogs to do that. I recognize his voice. They've got a dog there. They're training to play the piano.
They've got a dog there, they're training to play the piano.
I hear my echo. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. I think I've got everything under control here.
Well, I hear myself still. Is the old gentleman there with you?
He's not here right now.
Oh, She's married to a nice old guy. He's the sweetest fellow, and you can almost get into Chautauqua free. If you're 90, they let you in free. How about that? No
But
gate.
he's not 90 yet.
Not quite. I know he's approaching it.
He's got a ways to go. I hope he gets to see 90.
Oh, I think he will. He's still pretty spry.
He's very resilient, the comeback kid.
Right. Well, he's actually a good friend. He is old, you know. He forgets a lot. So anyway, what's new with you over there? She's over at Chautauqua Lake. She calls in regularly, Linda Spalding, and I know she didn't get much ice fishing in this year, right?
No, I saw some ice fishermen.
How daring they were!
They were daring. It
Yeah.
was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think, about when there was a little bit of ice. I was surprised. But I did see them.
Yeah, well,
Not many.
I'm used to it being covered with all those little hooches out there that they take out and leave there, and they fish regularly, and they catch a whole lot of fish.
Oh, they have wonderful perch that they get during ice fishing.
Mm-hmm. And they're really good, too. They're firm and nice.
Wonderful.
And fat, I might add. Well, Linda, what's new over there?
Just that it's spring. Well, spring is coming. It's March 3rd.
Yeah.
The storm wasn't too bad last night. I don't know what's about to come, but people prepared.
There were all kinds of dire warnings, but I didn't see much storm, no wind.
I think we might be a little protected from this, but I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, we might be. And the point is, if you're on the lake, right along the lake, which most of us are, you get a lot of extra snow. But it's even been good this year. It's been a nice year.
Mm-hmm.
Crocuses are all up, you know.
Mine haven't come up yet,
Oh,
but
yeah?
I do see buds coming up, and I hear birds singing.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging.
Yeah, well, you have to plant the crocuses on the south exposure of your house, and you plant them fairly close to the house. They'll come up a month earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And same with the robins. If you put out some robin food, they'll be up here a month earlier.
Well, your show is very interesting.
I'm going to sneeze.
Gesundheit.
Just switch back to him will you, for a minute. Oh boy. Okay. All right. I guess the sneeze passed. I have allergies, and my doctor, who's a good doctor, Bob Burke, over in Mayville, does a great job. The always commissioner of medicine or whatever in Chautauqua County. He tells me, Reed, since it's all year round, all the time, your allergy is not hay fever. We could do something about that. He said but it's an industrial allergy probably. You're reacting something or in the environment that's probably chemical or rugs or whatever it might be. And if you have enough time and you have enough money, you could go through the 150,000 different industrial allergens there are out there. You might find out what it is.